I'm Inuksuk and This is my sister, Tiffany. We're PIQSIQ.
When we perform, you're, close, you're even sometimes sharing the same area and the same breath. You're rhythmically really locked in with each other. And that closeness that is necessary as part of that song form, it like ripples out into, other areas of our lives. We are already very close because we're sisters and we spent our whole lives together. And that closeness and that proximity has for sure been a part of how we navigate our relationship together, how we navigate hard times, how we navigate conflict, how we navigate creative choices. There's like a really strong foundation of closeness and intimacy and safety for us to be able to, support each other as sisters, support each other as, parents, as, as moms, as women in the industry.
I think one of the important things about the connection that we share as sisters, but also creatively, is trust, because we perform improvisation. So we don't know what's going to happen until we're on stage. And to be able to do that in a way that other people actually want to hear, you have to have a partnership that's trusting, that we're going to follow and listen. And so in Inuit style throat singing, there's a leader and a follower. So there's lots of listening. You have to pay attention. You can't just do your own thing or you lose the game.
When we go into the studio, for example, when we're trying to, do a new album, or if we're coming up with a new single or something like that, we like to first start with like a feeling that we're feeling, a concept, a journey, a prompt. Like we start often with just checking in and seeing how we're doing, and then we often create the music from that kind of springboard. And then once we've got the song kind of more or less in a structure somewhat, then we kind of listen and we think about like, okay, well, we know where we're coming from, but how is this like landing? What do we think this song is about? Even more difficult when there's no lyrics. And so that stage, when we're at that stage of our process, we're on the phone with our dads, with aunties, we're looking up words in the dictionary. We're, really doing a lot of work to deepen our own understanding of language. And, you would think just picking a title, like a one word or a couple word title, would be like a relatively straightforward thing to do. But when you have like 6 people weighing in on it, dialect and use and structure and, who's the audience and what's the intent, each of these exercises of picking one word to kind of encapsulate the feeling of the song does become like a multi-hour long language lesson in and of itself. So yeah, I think that just really shows the specificity and the ingenuity of Inuktitut language, that, there's incredible specificity that really needs to be investigated and celebrated and preserved and practiced. And, we do it in our small ways, just like one word at a time, often when we are coming up with something as kind of foundational as a title for a song.
Especially in Inuktitut, because it's such a technical language. Yeah. There's so much specificity. The day that we filmed the song for Rhythms of the Land, we had very cold temperatures and overcast. So it wasn't a very sunny day. And I think that the weather is a huge influence on us as improvisational performers. The band name is PIQSIQ. It's a type of weather. So we feel very, very tied to weather. And I think that had a big part to play in the way that we were feeling, in the way that we improvised. So a PIQSIQ is a storm where there's just so much snow happening all at once from all the directions, up, down, sideways. And without trees on the tundra, it just collects at such a speed that it picks up the snow and makes it look like it's falling upward, up to the sky. So it's, again, a very sort of technical term. And I think in English, we just call it a whiteout, because you can't see. You put your hand out in front of you. And in some of the really intense storms, you can't see your hand. So it's very dangerous, very powerful weather. And we respect the weather. So I think we're very influenced by weather conditions.
So being part of Rhythms, for the land and really tapping into the rhythm of the place where we filmed in Kogoktok was really special to us. Colloquially, people call it the cliffs. We're going to the sandbar or going out to the cliffs, and that's a great place to, bomb around on your four-wheeler and have fun and pick berries. And it's part of the confluence of where the Coppermine River is kind of emptying out into the basin, into the ocean. And the name of that place literally means the place that you rush to. And that's part of, I don't know, I feel that feeling when we go to, if we go to Kogoktok, it's like, man, I just want to rush out to the cliffs. I just want to go be out there. It's such a beautiful spot. We spent huge chunks of our childhood at every stage from when we were young, even now, going out there. It's a really special place for us. And it's a very aptly named spot, a place where you rush to. So it was really cool to be there and rushing because it was -30 when we were filming for a different reason. But yeah, to be able to go and sing outside, especially in the wintertime and really echo and have a duet with the cliffs was a really, really special thing for us. And because I'm sure we've done versions of that when we were kids. So do it as adults is a whole other thing. Yeah.
I think attitude is like this invisible vice that will hold the next generation in place. And something that we experienced growing up was dialectical confusion. So because we have family in the PIQSIQ region, and our stepfather was from the Baffin Island, and Qavadluq, we would say things wrong for the place that we were in. And as a child who's learning to be teased or scolded, it really shuts them down. And it creates a paired association with language that's negative. And so I remember, early teens, when you're really insecure and you're at that place in your life where, the opinions of your peers are the highest weight. To be teased was just too much. And I remember saying to myself, I quit. I'm not going to try to learn anymore. I speak English only. I'm not even going to try. And it wasn't until I was pregnant with my first son that I was like, crap, I don't know beyond the basics how to pass my language on to my boy. And so I think one of the things that we take really seriously as artists and people who love working with youth is to foster an attitude that shows young people that they're cherished and that they can make mistakes because that's part of learning. And it's okay if your elders scold you, they have that right. So don't be afraid to make mistakes and don't be afraid to be corrected. And of course I have a thicker skin now as an adult, but I remember being younger and that really stung.
Ooh, nothing
really
stings like that.
Yeah.
Nothing stings like that.
Mm.
Preserving language is incredibly important to us, and I don't know if there's a version of our lives where we become fluent speakers. I don't know if that's in the cards for us. We are continually doing what we can with the time and energy and resources that we have to put into all areas of cultural reclamation as we have the support and ability and energy to do so, while also navigating an incredibly complex post-colonial reality under the umbrellas of capitalism and patriarchy. So that does not leave a lot of free time for picking up things that were stolen from you and from your family. So we know where our limitations are. We can do what we can with the platform that we have. That's important to us as community members. That's important to us as people of our generation who are really the first to be navigating very complex things between huge tech boom and ancient past. we hold a lot of this simultaneity within us at all times, and it's incredibly challenging. It's a really, really taxing and really, really hard thing to do, and it's full of a lot of heartache and pain. It's also full of a lot of opportunity to be able to use technology, to use TikTok, to use our other areas of outreach and the small, modest reach that we have with the platform that we have, to do what we can to really get at what we talk about a lot, which is where we think a lot of the hardship comes from with people not having access to culture, which is rooted in shame. So when we can do our part to help alleviate shame and to create an open and welcoming place, I feel like that's our work that we can do to help make it easier for other people to have access to elders. I feel like sometimes we're really this like weird conduit where we might not be able to have fluency in our lifetime, but we can help elders and we can help young people navigate this really wide kind of digital gap, language gap, culture experience gap. And we're just kind of like little weirdos in the middle doing what we can. I feel like sometimes. So yeah, I think a huge part of the work that we want to do is to help young people feel seen and celebrated, give them some tools to access elders or culture keepers from that are relevant to them, and just do what we can to just help kind of strip away a lot of the shame that we inherited from our parents and our grandparents' generation due to residential school and the colonial project.
I think I have now, as an adult, I have a lot of compassion for elders, or even people who weren't elders but were older than me, who corrected me in a less than kind way. I think that when you've seen your culture dwindle, and there's so much pain and grief in seeing that happen, I understand the protective nature and wanting to just preserve every little thing that you know.
Say it right.
You want to say it right.
Yes, say it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, reflecting now, of course, I see that differently. But as a younger person, I wasn't yet able to have that context. Something that my dad would say about anything is that there's a positive and a negative side, and they can't be removed from one another. And if you go really hard on one, the other one is going to compensate eventually. And so he would teach me to look at things that way and say, okay, this really positive thing is happening, but what are the consequences downstream? Or this really, really hard, awful thing happened, but where's the positive that's going to come, in response to this thing that's happened? So I think that things like the internet, for example, where we are seeing harm, we are seeing things play out in ways that scare us. We're also seeing it be used as a tool for preservation of language. And I hope it doesn't all go digital. We still need print, but it is accessible. And so there's online courses now that people can take. There's places that people can go. I've seen people get on Facebook and say, help me out with this word. How would I say this properly in this context? And there's a lot of really beautiful exchange that's happening all at the same time as the other things that are maybe not so savory. So I think kind of with anything, it's the adaptability, it's the resourcefulness, and it's using the tools that we have in ways that still honor the original value.
Something that I do wish that we had more access to was, more internet literacy, understanding things about, like, from a mental health perspective. Like, that's why it's so important to have access to these programs in the North that are just like equipping youth to understand things, how it affects our body image, how it affects mental health, things like that. I think that we need more resourcing to help shore that up. But to be able to see, even when I'm, in Vancouver, pop on the Inuit hunting stories of the day and just like being really just flooded with a lot of beauty and celebration, and people just like out there living land connection and being connected to culture gives me a lot of hope, because that's not something I have like a lot of access to living down south.